It's great. Well, it's fantastic to be here. My name is Bradley Wade. I'm the Regional Director for St. George's University Medical School. We're an international medical school based in Grenada in the West Indies. And we are here in Kampala, Uganda, the lovely Kampala, Uganda. Having a great time meeting with students and potential future doctors.
How long have you been here?
So just a few days. We've been attending an education expo, meeting with students who are looking to study abroad. And specifically for us, for our university, looking for students who want to study medicine abroad.
Okay. So how have you found Kampala?
It's grown. I haven't been here in 10 years myself personally, and I just can't believe the growth. I think it's fantastic. So
what's that moment, a quick one you can share with someone outside there, share about Kampala?
Well, we're staying at the beautiful Four Points by Sheraton Hotel, and there's a rooftop restaurant with views over the city, and you can actually see the lake from here with the sunset going down. It just, you feel like you're in the heart of Africa, and it's extremely friendly.
Have you been challenged by the culture and
just the traffic? But no, everyone has been extremely warm and friendly.
How has the traffic affected you?
Just moving to and from meetings and schools and expos, yeah, it's the hustle and bustle of an African city that is growing, and so it's good to see.
Which places in your country, if you compare the traffic in your country and here, because there are some other places where you'll find traffic, but do the causes differ or similar?
No, well, so I'm actually South African. I'm African myself, so I'm from Cape Town, South Africa, and yeah, we have our own challenges there. But it's also a beautiful place, so you don't mind the traffic. Yeah. I also spent some time in Toronto in Canada, and it's crazy there for a big city like that. But the country where our university is located is Grenada in the West Indies. It's one of the Caribbean islands, and that's a lot more relaxed.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So you said you're here looking for students to partner with. How did you start this journey?
Well, for students who are wanting to become doctors, there are limited spaces available in medical schools all over the world. Uganda would be no exception. But especially when students are looking abroad to US, Canada, the UK, Australia, those sort of places, it's highly competitive to get into medicine. There are a few seats available, and you've got to be at the top of your academic game, and you're competing against other students for a few seats. With St. George's University, we're a large international medical school. We've been around since the late 70s, and we have a huge capacity. In fact, we're the largest provider of new doctors into the US healthcare system, into first-year US residencies in the world. So we have a lot of capacity, and for students who are seeking to become a doctor either in the US or the UK, we have the space available if you qualify. So we run a US-style curriculum. So it's a Doctor of Medicine degree, a 4-year Doctor of Medicine degree. And students might be familiar with how to become a doctor in the US. There's a 2-stage process. First, you have to do a 4-year bachelor's degree. It's called a pre-med. And then your second application is into medical school, which is a 4-year Doctor of Medicine degree. So it can take quite long, and it is highly competitive. We have our own preclinical track into the Doctor of Medicine degree. So students don't necessarily need to do a 4-year pre-med degree. They can actually join one of our preclinical years, depending on the education that they've completed already. So ours is one application straight into med school through a preclinical track. There are no requirements for additional exams like the medical college entrance exams, like the MCAT for the US or the UCAT for the UK, for example. And our interview is not an MMI medical interview. It's a one-on-one interview, a bit more holistic review of each applicant. So we've made medical school a little bit more accessible to most international students, a little bit more straightforward in terms of the application process, and giving hope to students who think they can't get into medical school. They should certainly speak to us at St. George's University.
Yeah. So how do you identify the students here in Uganda?
Okay, so we're looking for 3 basic criteria to make a good medical student and to see if they'll make a good physician as well. So first of all, I really want to be a doctor.
Okay.
So studying medicine is a calling. The career of being a doctor is a calling as well. It's going to be tough. It's lifelong learning, essentially. So we're looking for an interest in medicine and a passion for medicine, and a real dedication to this is all I want to do. So that's kind of criteria number 1. Criteria number 2 is you must have the minimum academic entry requirements. Now, most medical schools around the world will require straight A's in a very advanced curriculum because they only have a few seats available and thousands of applicants. Because of our capacity, our entry requirements are a little broader. We look at minimum B's in the science subjects, so that's biology, chemistry, maths, physics, those sort of subjects, English as well. If they meet the minimum entry criterion, if they write a strong personal statement, if their application is strong, we invite them for an interview, and they've got to pass the interview as well. So that's the second criteria, meet the minimum entry requirements. The third criteria is funding. It is very expensive to study medicine abroad, pretty much anywhere. And especially if you look at first world English-speaking countries, it is expensive. The fees are going to be very, very similar, no matter whether you go to the US, Canada, UK, Australia, Ireland, those kind of countries. So, unfortunately, it's not for everyone. It is for those who can afford it. But even in that light, St. George's University tries to help students, international students, by providing some financial aid. Not full financial aid, but some, to try and bring the cost down a little bit.
Are you in position to share the financial aid that you provide?
Yes, sure. So we have different types of scholarships available for students. They are partial tuition scholarships. It's a fairly modest amount compared to the overall cost, but it does help. So students are reviewed for an academic scholarship when they apply, based on the academics that they're applying with. Then they're reviewed for a financial needs-based scholarship based on the affordability of the family. The family does have to demonstrate that they can afford most of the program, but if there are any small gaps in their affordability, we try and help out with some financial needs-based scholarships, which again are quite modest, but do help.
Okay.
And then thirdly, for some students, there are some student loans available, so institutional student loans on a case-by-case basis. Again, it brings the cost during medical school down a little bit, and those loans are only required to be start to be paid back after students graduate. And the assumption is that they're in their first job in residency, specializing in training, doing postgraduate training.
In Uganda, most of the population here are low-income earners, and to a layman, there would be someone who has a passion of becoming a doctor.
Yeah.
How do you help such a person?
Yeah, so like I said, unfortunately, private international medical institutions like ourselves, we're not going to be for everyone.
Yeah.
It is for those who can afford it, and that's just the sad reality of of the situation. But there are students who have aspirations and financial ability to study abroad, and who would meet our criteria. So our university is pretty much geared towards that sort of demographic. Unfortunately, we can't help everyone.
Do you mind about the age?
So we don't really have a strict age requirement. We've got students who are coming out of O-levels, students who are coming out of A-levels, students who are coming out of graduate studies, into various tracks on our program. So either a 7, 6, 5 or 4-year program, depending on what level of education they've had. But we don't have a strict lower or higher end age limit. We review each applicant on their merit to decide if they're going to cope with medical school, because it's tough.
I know.
And if they're going to make a good physician.
How long has this program been, away from involving Uganda, but other African countries? How long have you had such a program, and what's the success story?
Sure, yes. So we've been in existence since 1976, and our first class graduated in 1980. Since that time, we've graduated more than 22,000 doctors now. And most of them end up practicing as licensed physicians in the United States. So we've got nearly 14,000 doctors currently licensed and practicing in the US. In fact, that makes us the largest source of doctors in the entire US healthcare system compared to any other medical school in the world. And then, you know, the balance of students are practicing in more than 50 countries around the world. So that's the success that we provide. We are the #1 provider of new doctors into first-year US residencies, specialties, for the last 10 years running. And our students have overall a 95% success rate in getting into US residencies in the year that they graduate. International students have to fight a little bit harder for a US residency place, so our success rate into first-year US residencies for the last 3 years running is about 88% at the moment. And students get into more than 22 different specialties, throughout the United States. Over the last between 15 and 20 years, we've been partnering with a university in the UK to provide a route into the UK as well. So we partner with Northumbria University in Newcastle, and students can spend some of their time on campus in the UK and eventually do their clinical rotations in UK hospitals as well. So our students have a choice to do their clinical rotations as part of their final 2 years of their degree in US hospitals or in UK hospitals, or a combination of the both. In Africa, we've been working in Africa for a very long time, nearly 30 years now as well. But I'd say over the last 5 years, we've really been sort of promoting the university, traveling throughout sub-Saharan Africa and showing students the opportunity to get into medical school and to eventually get into the US or the UK. And last year we had a record number of 60 new students from 7 countries in sub-Saharan Africa, including Uganda.
Oh, that's great. So now that you've had some time to meet some of the students in Uganda, how is the progress?
Yeah, so we've got some really good quality students that are coming to chat to us, to look at an application. Some of them are coming out of their O-levels, some out of their A-levels, some are coming with a bachelor's degree, and some are already in medical school and wanting to know what is the next step for them to be able to go overseas. So, you know, from that perspective, it's great. The quality of students is fantastic. The only unfortunate part is that not everybody can afford the program. So what we've done is we've actually, the Uganda North American Association actually contacted me.
That is UNA.
Yes, UNA. Yes. And the Vice President, Charles, Mr. Charles, he reached out to me, and he said to me, look, we've got a number of Ugandan students who are doing their pre-med degree in either Canada or the US, and they're starting to face obstacles in applying to US and Canadian medical schools because it's so competitive to get in. Do we have any solutions for them? And of course we do. Students in the diaspora can actually approach us with their undergrad degree, their pre-med, and they will come into our 4-year MD program. And through our discussions with UNA, we've just signed an agreement last month, actually, whereby we're providing a special scholarship for UNA members and for students referred to us through UNA. And that is a partial tuition scholarship to the value of $60,000 US, which will come out of their 4-year MD tuition fees. Okay. And that's going to help. That's certainly going to help. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. Away from UNA, any other organizations you are partnering with here to identify the students?
Sure. So what's very important to us as a university is ensuring that students who apply from various countries are supported in their application, because an application to medical school can be, quite difficult. So they need local support. So we partner with a number of study abroad agencies, educational consultants that are approved by us to help our students with their application. And they have offices in Kampala. And we've been quite successful with a number of them actually in getting students to St. George's University.
Yeah. Which are some of these organizations so far currently here in Kampala that
Yes, so we work with UniServe, we work with Cradle, we work with Sable Study Abroad, we work with Shah's Consultants, and so those are some of the organizations that students can reach out to as well.
Some of these questions I'm asking is because there are people there who would like to understand how trustworthy is the process.
Yes.
So we need to go deep down to explain the transparency bit, because that's why I'm trying to ask.
We've had a few students each year from Uganda, a few new students. So what's nice is that Ugandan applicants can actually reach out to current students on campus and find out about how the process was for them, and what the program is like and what the campus is like. And especially because Grenada is not that well known. That's where our main campus is, and it's a route to the United States. So just for your viewers, we're not a US medical school, but we're an international medical school that runs a US style curriculum and provides access to the United States or the UK. So our campus, if I may, is located in a country called Grenada in the West Indies. So it's in the Caribbean islands, in between North and South America. It's not far from Miami, Florida. And it's a beautiful state-of-the-art US-style campus. And most of our students come from the United States, as I said. So they would spend their preclinical years on campus there and the first 2 years of the 4-year MD program before they move on to clinical rotations in US or UK hospitals. And we have a network of over 75 hospitals for students to choose from between the US and the UK, and that's where they will finish their degree. But Grenada itself is a fantastic place. It's safe, it's beautiful, it's very conducive to studying medicine because it's a calm environment and medicine is difficult. So that's why one of the reasons why our students are so successful. But we do have a secondary campus in the UK, and we partner with, as I said, Northumbria University in Newcastle, so you can spend some of your time in the UK before going on to Grenada and then choosing hospitals in either the US or the UK. So you're right, students want to know about that process. It's a little bit complex. They want to speak to students who have been through that process. They want to understand the credibility of the university, the pathway to becoming a doctor, and they want the support on the ground as well for their application.
Okay. Maybe now that as we conclude, do you take into consideration the curriculum of these African countries, especially Uganda, because now you're taking up students who have been undergoing a local curriculum here, but then now you're taking them to pursue an international medical course. So do you put into consideration that?
Exactly. That's why we have our own preclinical program, our own preclinical track into the 4-year MD program. We've gone around the world and we've vetted curricula from all the countries that our students come from, and we give entry points into that preclinical track based on what they've completed, and that's why we've set a minimum grade of Bs in your science subjects, and we've given opportunities to come into a 7-year program, a 6-year program, and a 5-year program based on whether they've done OS levels, AS, or A levels, or the equivalent of that.
Okay. How is Grenada? Is the country is called Grenada?
Grenada in the West Indies. If you Google that, you'll find not only is it beautiful, it's safe, It's extremely friendly, and the weather is fantastic all the year round. And its location means that you can explore the islands around the Caribbean, and it's easy access to the United States. And one of the benefits to our students is that it's visa free. So you don't need a visa to come and study at St. George's University in Grenada. And even for mum and dad, if they want to join or come and visit, the tourist visa it's a visa on arrival for all Ugandans. You don't need a visa to come to Grenada. But yeah, it's a wonderful place. It's a small country, and St. George's University has become very fond of its people there in the community, and I would like to say the Grenadians have become very fond of St. George's University as well.
Okay. Wow, that's great. Do you think there's anything we've left out?
Well, yeah, the one thing to say about studying in the US is that not only do you have to pass medical school, but you also have to pass the US medical license exams, which come in 3 steps along your journey. The first 2 steps are part of your curriculum at medical school. And because of the way that we teach and the educational support that we give all of our students perform very well in the US medical license exams. It's a tough exam. I've heard a lot of Ugandans this week say that they want to complete their MBCHB, their medical degree here in Uganda, and then write the USMLEs to get to the US. That exam is tough to pass. So our students have our international students, our non-US international students, have an 89% success rate over the last 3 years in passing that step 1 first time. In fact, the latest stats are actually 90% for the step 1 and 91% for the step 2, because of the way that we support and teach the program, and the way that we assess our students based on the USMLE format, so that by the time they get to write that external exam, they're used to that format and they perform very well. So it's not just about medical school, it's about preparing them for US residency match. That's what we do. Tremendous academic support in a fantastic environment, in a campus where they're going to love studying medicine, interact with students from over 150 different countries and cultures, and have everything that they need on campus in terms of academic and leisure support as well for their downtime. So yeah.
How about issues to do with accommodation to the students when?
Yeah, we've got on-site accommodation and off-site accommodation, lots of off-site accommodation available for students, so whatever a student needs, and a real wide budget range from budget to the more expensive, based on students' choice.
Okay. Are there exceptions, because someone might need to cross from a different field to join the medical field?
Great question, actually. We do have some students who come from, for example, a nursing background, nursing degree, and they want to now transition into to medicine. Yeah, they want to become a doctor. So depending on what they've studied, we either allow them entry onto the first year of the medical degree program, or we have a bridging program to address any sort of gaps in their academics before they hit medical school. Likewise, we've had students, graduates and professionals from engineering, from law, from business, who have decided late on in life, I want to become a doctor. And again, we have a bridging program for a year to allow them now to move from their non-science background into a medical background. So, if anybody wants to be a doctor, we're the kind of university that tries to find a solution and a route into studying medicine, for pretty much anyone.
Okay. Yeah. How would someone contact you directly without going to the other partners like UNICEF?
Yeah, sure. So they can contact me. I don't know if I can give my email address on air.
No problem.
So my name is Bradley Wade. My email address is bwade, so my initial and my surname, BWADE @sgu.edu. Alternatively, if for some reason you've misspelt that, you can just go onto our website, contact the admissions department, and say you'd like to speak to the regional director from Africa. They'll route the inquiries through to me, and my team and I will help each student inquiry and find out what we can do.
Wow, that's great. It's been nice having you in Uganda, and I hope that you change your ticket. First move around. We have national parks. Have you ever gone to any national park in Uganda? It's a beautiful
Not in Uganda
place.
yet.
You have Makshon Falls, you have Chidepo. You visit these rhinos and other.
Well, you're selling it to me. You're convincing me. So next time I'll spend a long weekend here after my business.
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate that you have not explored the country well.
We'll be back. We'll be back.
Sure.
Yeah. All right, good.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
We believe that this process will get the results.
Fantastic. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you too.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.